All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So I'm kind of torn on what to call this podcast. I was going to call it Analyze Everything You Do to Your Body Physically. That doesn't make any sense, though, to a certain degree, but I don't know how to word this. I think I may go with What Are You Doing to Your Body? And what I want to talk about in this podcast is that exactly. When doing things physical, what are you doing to your body? Are you helping it or hurting it? Because I don't think a lot of people realize in the long term, a lot of things that they do physically, how much it can hurt them. Now, I'm not talking about working out here. If you know anything about me, I'm always trying to preach, I guess you could say, how not to get hurt, right? We do not want to get injured. There's nothing wrong with pushing yourself to the extreme, and there's a fine line there. But we do not want to get injured. Now, you may get injured working out or just in general in life, and that's just things that's going to happen. I think no matter who you are in life, you're going to get injured, especially if you push yourself hard. But we do not want it to be, I guess you could say, to the point where it's, really damaging, where it's going to really affect the rest of your life, right? We don't want to tear things that, or break things that are, that are really going to be really hard to recover from. And then again, just affect you physically for the rest of your life. It can happen. But what I want to talk about in this case really is just simple things that I don't think a lot of people realize that they could be damaging their body. Now, one thing is interesting to me is that I have a lot of family members that paint. And, physical labor just can take such a toll on you after so many years, after 20, 30 years. And a lot of my family members and friends, I should say, that paint, do carpentry, cement, bricklaying, all that type of work. After a certain amount of time, let's face it, their body is going to be destroyed. They're almost like a professional athlete, and I'm not kidding, because I think a lot of people underestimate what they're doing to their bodies physically. Now, I'm not here to tell you to change your career or your profession or any of that, but I do think sometimes you need to pay attention when working, especially. And I'll use a painter, for instance. Like a lot of times my cousins and family members and friends and everybody, their shoulders are shot, right? Their back is shot. Or, their knees, especially if you're a carpet layer and all these. If you're starting to have a lot of problems, and say you're in your 30s or 40s, I'm not telling you to change your profession, but maybe the way you approach it, there should be kind of maybe a time limit on that. Because if you're having problems when you're 30 or even 40, if you want to live or walk till you're in your 80s, just imagine what you're going to feel like then. Now, again, some people can lay carpet their entire life for 40, 50 years, just like my grandfather. He can paint and do wallpaper forever, it seemed like. But then again, other people seem to do things and their body just can't handle it. And then again, they may have damaged themselves in something else. They could have been in a car accident. They may have been lifting weights and hurt themselves or played a certain sport. So everyone's different. But regardless what you do for a living, please pay attention to the things you're doing every day to your body. Especially if you're doing something with lifting, because that's what I used to do. So I used to, for years, I collected money and I moved equipment, and heavy equipment. I've even moved billiard tables 450 pounds by myself, like a lunatic. But I used to move, basically we're like a moving company. We'd pick up dart games, billiard tables, jukeboxes, video games, all those different tabletops, all these things, picking them up, moving them every day if we weren't collecting money. And, I had a close friend of mine, too, who did it with me, and we were both pretty strong. I mean, we were very strong back then, probably some of the strongest guys in the gym. Not only did we move equipment all day, we lifted heavy weights, and that was what we did. And, in the long term, he now, after doing that for so many years with me, his back is destroyed. And, I think a lot of things that he did took a toll on him, maybe the way he was lifting them. He was much taller than me. His legs may have not been as strong as mine, so I think he depended a lot on his back. But his arms were very strong, his shoulders. And then in certain things, like we both had strong backs and chest, whatever. But, that's what I'm trying to say. And I used to say, don't do that, watch this. He didn't care. He's like, no, I could do it and I could do this. And in the long run, he's kind of destroyed. And now, when you're in your 50s, And he hasn't done it for a long time, but still, him for whatever amount of years, 15 years, lifting heavy things, maybe incorrectly, some correctly as well, but it took such a toll on him, and it affected the rest of his life. Now, even in the home, I even think this goes for men, women, the way you pick up things. It could be as the way you walk up the stairs. I don't know if it's the way you get in and out of your car. Whatever you do throughout your day, again, is, physically. There are things you're doing, probably correctly and incorrectly. We want to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're not going to hurt or injure yourself. And what a lot of people don't realize is it's not just about the here and now. A lot of people, I think, will be like, oh, I can just pick this box up all the time like this, and I'm not going to worry about it, I'm older or whatever. But all the years of doing something incorrectly does take a toll, and then all of a sudden something happens where you pull your back out, or you hurt it could be your knee, it could be your ankle, whatever the case may be, then you're kind of screwed, and you've kind of, set yourself up for this. But just really pay attention to what you're doing physically. And a lot of times, what's weird, I think a lot of times with me, is I usually get injured over the stupidest things. It's not the big things. I used to squat like 500 pounds for reps like crazy, and bench press, all this weight, and curl all this weight. And I wouldn't get injured a lot of times because I was very focused. I knew my strengths and weaknesses. Now, sure, something could have went wrong, but for the most part, it didn't. But sometimes I'd pull my back out or certain things. But it was like little things, like I would turn too quickly and tweak my knee. Or I just did this in Seattle looking for an Italian restaurant. Like I snapped my ankle, not paying attention. My shoulder, I tore my rotator's cuff, but it could be as simple as like being at a gun range or something, and then I'm doing something with the gun, and then I'm not holding it correctly or something, and then like I hurt my shoulder. I'm like, how the hell does this hurt my shoulder? But I'm, lifting all this weight with my shoulder. It was the stupid little things I was doing incorrectly or rushing and not paying attention that where I would get kind of hurt the most. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. It could be in the shower doing something stupid. It could be whatever the hell it is. Just take things slow and pay attention, please, to your body and the signals it's sending you. I'm going to wrap it up with that. I haven't discussed this in a long time. Your body is constantly sending you signals, good and bad, I think. That could go for the way you're eating, what you drink, all these different types of things. Your body, it could be at that point in time, it could be hours down the road, it could be the next morning, and sometimes you wake up, you're like, well, I feel pretty good, let's do that, or whatever. And then other days you feel like, oh my God, I shouldn't eat this, or why'd I do this? I feel like shit. Again, your body is sending you those signals. But it's also sending you those little signals, and it could be even if you're you may be sleeping on like a cheap mattress, and you're like, every time you're getting out of bed, you're like, man, my back is destroyed. Your body's sending you a signal saying, hey, why is my back destroyed? Oh, I'm not even doing anything physical. Oh, the mattress. You're not even thinking that way. You can have a couch. The springs are shot and stuff. And the way you're sitting there for long periods of time. Every time you get up, you're like, what the hell's going on? My back is rocked, or my lower back, or my shoulder, or whatever the case may be. You got to stop and think, why do I feel like this? Oh my goodness, this couch is worn out. I need something that has more stability. It could be a chair you're sitting at in your office, or on your kitchen table, or you just sitting around too long in general, and then you're getting up like, why do I feel this way? Again, you may have to get some more blood flow. Pay attention to all these things. We just kind of neglect them and take them for granted. But I believe the more kind of mobile you are, and, just kind of, and I am truly going to wrap it up with this, just learn this stretch. I love swimming, and just be fluent. Try to walk. Try to just keep blood flow going. Again, you don't have to beat yourself up, regardless what age you are, okay? Now, when I say beat yourself up, I mean, if you want to go to a gym and get nuts like I do and work out heavy and all that stuff, that's good. When I say beat yourself up, I mean not only like just beat yourself up with maybe alcohol, drugs, a lot of times eating a lot of bad foods, not getting sleep. Really concentrate on taking care of your body. And again, paying attention to the signals it sends you, because I can assure you your body's telling you, what it's going through. And you just got to have a relationship with your body if you want to take care of it. I look at my body and my brain as two separate things. I do, and people sometimes think I'm crazy the way I talk like that, but it's kind of obvious. But my body is kind of just doing its own thing, and it's in my mind. I feel like a lot of times my body is just sending signals, and my brain also sends my body signals. So it's kind of like this two-way relationship. And then I call it a third, where I tell both of them to shut up and kick it in the ass. But that's a whole nother podcast. But yeah, if you got any questions or comments, hit me up. But please pay attention to these things with your body. You only get one of them. I always say it, you better take care of it, because for the most part, nobody else can take care of it like you can, right? All right, if you have any questions or comments, you can hit me up. I'm at richcelenza.com or masteringselfconfidence.com.